The ancient secret of the ever burning lamps, was it lost knowledge of the ancients and the sky gods? In many ancient cultures, there are descriptions of advanced tools and technologies that are still a mystery for modern science. And the video before this one talks about the lightning rod of Zeus, the thing that Alexander the Great went into the Taklamakan desert to get from an Atlantean that was to land there with his spaceship and give him a lightning rod of Zeus. He lost a third of his troops there, over 10,000. So it obviously for him to go in there and lose that many of his troops, it was important to him, and he was supposedly using it in his conquests. That was one of the ancient advanced technology tools that we don't even know about today. Now, the existence of mysterious lamps that, according to our forefathers, burned for centuries and thousands of years or more without human intervention. The tales of ancient eternal flames have been mentioned in many parts of the world. So what was it? A product made by ancient gods, sky gods, some kind of magical artifact, or a lost highly developed technology from the depths of antiquity? Moreover, this internal flame phenomenon, which has not received a scientific explanation up to now, is really very intriguing. What are these so-called mystery lamps, the eternal flames? Do they really exist? At different points in history, ever-burning lamps were recorded by various chroniclers in various parts of the earth. For example, in one of his works, the ancient Greek historian and philosopher Plutarch describes a mysterious lamp that burned above the door of the Egyptian temple of Jupiter Ammon, Jupiter meaning, of course, Zeus. It was in an open space, and neither wind nor rain could extinguish it. Similar accounts of these lamps are also given in the altar temples of Armenia, the temple of Adrabane, and in Kyrene, the temple of Apollo. In the 6th century, during the reign of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian, he is the one that is credited with the erection, the building of the St. Sophia Cathedral in today's Istanbul. His warriors stumbled upon a burning lamp, skillfully closed from the external environment in a niche above the gate. According to the inscriptions next to it, it was lit at the beginning of the 1st century. So he found it in the 6th century, it was burning for 500 years. That is, by that time it had been burning for 5 centuries until clumsily soldiers broke it. In 100 BC, there's an account scrawled upon papyrus and later described by the Arab philosopher Iamblichus, which tells of an expedition of explorers who sought access to the underground chambers under Giza, and during their adventure came across these eternal flames. According to Iamblichus, the report read, "We came to a chamber. When we entered, it became automatically illuminated by light from a tube being the height of a man's hand, approximately 6 inches, and thin, standing vertically in the corner. And as we approached the tube, it shone brighter. The slaves were scared and ran away in the direction from which we had come. When I touched it, it went out. We made every effort to get the tube to glow again, but it would no longer provide light. In some chambers, the light tubes worked, and in others they did not. We broke upon one of the tubes, and it bled beads of silver-colored liquid that ran fastly around the floor until they disappeared between the cracks. Could this have been mercury? And as time went on, the light tubes gradually began to fail, and the priests removed them and stored them in an underground vault they especially built southeast of the plateau. It was their belief that the light bulbs were created by their beloved Imhotep, who would someday return to make them work once again. Now, in the tomb of the son of King Evander Pallas, a lamp was discovered in 140 AD that burned for over 2,000 years. So that was almost 4,000 years ago. The lamp burned 2,000 years. It was impossible to extinguish it with water or breath of air. it went out after the strange liquid that was there was drained from the lamp bowl. There are many such references in various historical texts. In the Middle Ages, there was a lot of evidence of the discovery of eternal burning lamps. They were found in ancient tombs and temples around the world. Unfortunately, they were all destroyed by superstitious diggers, vandals, and marauders. Another early Roman account of the ever-burning lamps was given by early Christian theologian and philosopher St. Augustine, who was the Bishop of Hippo of North Africa, who mentioned such a light in an Egyptian temple dedicated to Venus, or Aphrodite, which he believed to have been fashioned by the devil himself. According to St. Augustine, this flame could not be put out by any means ordinary man possessed, and he was convinced it was fueled by dark ancient magic. Indeed, this was a common go-to explanation for such oddities back in those times. The Middle Ages probably cannot be called times of a triumph of science and thought. Many scientists suffered during this period for their beliefs and desired to bring the light of knowledge. The theme of an ever-burning fire excited the minds of not only researchers but also those in power in those days, no less than now. How did our ancestors manage to make lamps that could burn without fuel for hundreds and thousands of years, and in some cases thousands of years? From whom could the ancients receive this great secret knowledge? This has been the subject of endless debate and speculation. And of course, some people flatly reject even the very idea of the existence of such a phenomenon, especially all the known evidence. Others believe that this was possible. A curious story is described by the occultist Eliphas Levi in his work, The History of Magic. He talked about a certain mysterious French rabbi, a Jewish scholar named Jechiel. He was an advisor at the court of Louis IX in the 13th century. This rabbi had a lamp that he placed in front of his house for all to see. There was no wick or oil in it. Neither rain nor wind could extinguish its flame. To all questions about how it was possible, Jechiel said it was a secret. Some sources describe that such a lamp was also found in England during the time of Henry VIII. This happened when the rebellious king decided to break away from the Roman Catholic Church and founded the Anglican Church. He then ordered the destruction of all Catholic churches and refused to convert to a new religion. In the dungeon of one of them, an ancient lamp was found. At all times, there have been many assumptions about the secret source of energy for eternal lamps. In the Middle Ages and later, many great thinkers tried to solve the problem by preparing a special kind of fuel. It had to be renewed as quickly as it was spent. None of the vast number of experiments yielded results. No one has ever come close to the secret of making an ever-burning lamp. The technology of the ancients has remained a mystery. The earliest description of the divine flame, the eternal source of light, are found by historians in many myths and legends of the ancient world. All these stories are closely connected with the gods. After all, its very origin is of a divine nature. The ancient Greek god Prometheus was punished for giving fire to mortals. The ancient Greek writer and geographer of the 2nd century, Pausanias, wrote about an unusual golden lamp in the Athenian temple of Minerva. And this lamp, made by a scientist called Callimachus, burned steadily for years without any need for refilling the oil or trimming the wick. About the legendary second ruler of Rome, Numa Pompilius, they wrote that he had direct communication with the gods during his lifetime. They told him the secret of the eternal flame, which he later placed in the temple. Someone suggested that Numa simply knew about electricity. This is evidenced by the fact that his successor, Tullus Hostilius, died when he tried to get electricity from lightning. According to the traditions of the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and also Romans, the deceased needed a light that would illuminate his or her path to the valley of shadows. Therefore, before sealing the tomb, it was customary to put an unquenchable lamp inside. It served as a kind of offering to the god of the dead and was supposed to drive away evil spirits. Hundreds of years later, when people opened the crypts, they found burning lamps in perfect condition. In 1534, King Henry VIII plundered the alleged tomb of Constantine Chlorus, the father of the great Emperor Constantine, which supposedly held a flame that had been constantly burning for 1,200 years. And in 1580, the Spanish scholar Juan Luis Vives March wrote of an ever-burning lamp that had been burning for 1,500 years and which disintegrated into pieces and dust when touched. There's an ancient Hindu temple in India called Jwalaji. It's located in the city of Javalamukhi in Himachal Pradesh in the Himalayas. It's said that its walls exude a mystical blue glow. It comes from the rocks in various places of the temple. The word Jwala itself means flame. It's said that this fire has always burned from the very beginning of its known history. Scholars estimate that about 170 medieval authors wrote about this mysterious phenomenon. They believe that the wise and skillful ancients did their best to keep this knowledge secret. Could people in ancient times have such vast secret knowledge? How could they create ever-burning lamps? Has all this great scientific knowledge been irrevocably lost in the pages of history? Perhaps our ancestors knew about the eternal flame, and as Eliphas Levi wrote, undoubtedly the Zoroastrian magicians possessed methods unknown to us for the production and direction of electricity. But how and why did the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, and other cultures have this same knowledge? And this is By Hows and Wise by Vicky Verma. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. My Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.